Welcome to the video about my August works, and traditionally I will start from Matchstick Mouse because probably August was the last month when I colored in Matchstick Mouse Summer, and in September I intend to switch to the next book. So Matchstick Mouse Summer, here I did probably my best work so far in this book, and I think that it's my favorite here because of the gradient on the sky and also a wooden texture here. I love how I did small highlights here on the railing and behind on the wooden cabin. Again, I decided to play a little bit with colors on the leaves, so not everything, not only green, but with small fantasy elements. And as usual, I absolutely love the company, how they three spend time together, especially a warm pose. It's precious. Everything done with Prismacolors. I think that all my recent works in Matchstick Mouse are done with Prismacolors. This one I colored for my birthday on August 4th, and yeah, here we have the birthday party. The whole company is here. We have also the bug, we have the spider, they all are dancing, and I think that actually this party looks very festive and very in August mood because I added a little bit of berries and flowers here. Well, so it was a pleasure to find such a picture. You know, that's my tradition to color something with celebration or birthday theme for my own birthday, and this August I selected this one, and I think that it was a nice choice. At least I enjoyed doing it a lot. Of course, I didn't abandon my Matchstick Mouse springtime. The most difficult part is to remember exactly which pictures I did in August because I color it from March. Good thing that I have my video so I can check what exactly I did each month. Look at this very fashionable picture. For me, they are trying to go to the Ascot Derby in England. You know, that famous day when everyone need to have the craziest fashionable hats, and I think that they look absolutely amazing. Look at this fashionable worm, and look at this one. Probably it was supposed to color for Easter because it has Easter eggs, but I did it in August and I was quite happy. Next one, also maybe not exactly for August, more for spring because they are planting seeds, but I also decided to add something from myself, those tiny berries here, just to add small color accents. It's a little bit strange because I have autumn leaves, I have berries, and at the same time they plant seeds, but still I think that it's quite nice. I tried to use my traditional color combos for the soil, for the grass, for the leaves, which I quite often use in Teresa Goodrich books, here on the tree and on the bark. So for me it was a familiar thing. I already have many such color combos in my head. Yeah, very helpful in Teresa Goodrich and helpful here. And finally, picture which I absolutely love because I love to color metals, and even more I love to color rusty metals. So here we have this rust on the old can, but it still serves as a shelter from the rain because of those black lines which Morgan O'Brien usually adds. And for me it's not very easy to color rain, but I try to cover those black lines with white marker, so I hope that at least it resembles a little bit drops of rain water. So I decided to have fun and to turn this cap into Coca-Cola cap. And again, look how they gathered. Look at this warm face. It's small but very important detail of the picture. And yes, slowly but surely I feel in this book, and you know, there are probably 4 pictures to finish. I hope that during next months I finally manage to do it. Yes, they are probably the most complicated because they are pictures with guinea pig, with rabbits, with bear, but yeah, if I want to finish it, I need to find some ideas how to color the remaining pictures. Another totally summer picture I did in Rose and Her Friend, second part. Probably my favorite book from Evelyn Van Kertsen so far. And I did this cutest pirate girl. All girls and boys in Evelyn books are very cute, but here, of course, when I looked at toucan and parrot, I immediately knew that I need to color it. As usual in this book, I decided to do a very simple background, just a couple of shades of blue alcohol markers for that round background. Actually, this idea of round backgrounds, it's very helpful for me, so I don't need to color the whole page until corners, and at the same time picture looks more finished when you limit it with some kind of frame. And yeah, I experimented a little bit with color of her hair. I decided that if I would use the same purple color on palms decoration on her board and on the tips of her hair, it will look very stylish. She will be the most fashionable girl on the beach. And I enjoyed doing both birds. Here I used polychromos pencils. I love how they behave on this paper, so when I do the next page here, and I already know which one will be next, I definitely will continue to use polychromos pencils and acrylic and alcohol markers. They are quite helpful for quick backgrounds. Here I have my vintage classic by Tatiana Bogema. During the whole summer, we Ukrainian colorists had like color along to support Ukrainian artists, Ukrainian creators of coloring books, and probably Tatiana Bogema is the most famous, and I have the biggest amount of her book in my collection, so I decided to have a look at vintage classic because in her mouse books I color quite frequently, and I will be color in them even more frequently during winter season. But I also have this beauty. Even if I am not happy with the paper, pictures here are very creative. And I decided to color this keeper of the forest. You can immediately notice that there is a struggle with paper. Even if I did some kind of frame, then I very accurately used acrylic gouache for the background. Still, it buckled, and I don't know why it bothered me so much. So I tried to make it smooth with iron, but still there are some wrinkles and I don't like it. But the main image is good. Background probably is the main reason why I don't color in these 2 books, because I have 2 parts more frequently. First I did a layer of acrylic paint, but then I wanted to add additional color accents around her figure, so I started to add gel crayons from Distress around her. Well, it was not very successful experiment because in some of the areas it looks messy, and somehow in real life it looks softer, and on camera borders of those stains, they look more contrast, and on video it looks not as attractive as in real life. But that's okay, because what is important is that I really enjoyed doing this tiny witch or enchantress or keeper of the forest. This color combo of various polychromos pencils from ochre to sanguine, terracotta, and then into more rich burnt carmine and Indian red. They are my favorite. I think that this gradient I already used many times, and together with tiny accents of cobalt blue, I think that it's really a very beautiful, very striking color combo. I was happy to use it here. So it has several very bright color accents, and the rest I tried to color in natural, calmer colors. Maybe the most frightening part was to color rabbit, but here I remembered about my Derwent drawing pencils, and yeah, they were helpful here. I decided that I don't need to do for texture through the whole body, so I indicated for only on the parts of the body where it's longer, like this side of the head or this round butt and tail, and I think that in the end everything worked. I definitely need to improve my technique or my ideas how to work on the backgrounds here. Maybe the next one I will try to do with markers completely. So if I resolve problem with these backgrounds, I will be coloring in it much more frequently. I know that people even manage to color here with watercolors, but for me, well, if I can't use acrylic or gouache here, then watercolors definitely will be a no-no. But, well, I will think about it. I will think what I can use here. During last months, I had my own Egypt marathon when I selected pictures from various artists from various books for Egypt theme or with Egypt elements. And in August, I remembered about huge parts of Egyptian goddesses in Kolorowanka book. Well, I'm so surprised that Kolorowanka they didn't republish it. I think that it's disappeared and now it's unavailable, because I received many requests where to get the book, but I don't know and I don't understand. Maybe that's their copyright problems, maybe other problems, maybe they have different tastes in book, but I consider this one as their best book. But not every picture here was very successful coloring for myself, because the first goddess which I did, the Seshat, goddess of reading and writing, we can see it from those hieroglyphs here. Well, it wasn't very successful because probably I selected the wrong choice of pencils. When I started to color her skin, I experimented a little bit with a black widow, and they seemed very dry, very scratchy. When I started to do the rest of pictures, I don't know, everything looked slightly dull, lost color, like weathered, and I struggled. Some of the areas where I tried to layer colors, they started to look dirty again. So yeah, I finished it, but I wasn't happy in the end. And it was slightly disappointing, because before, all my pictures here, I colored them quite easy without huge struggle, even if paper is quite average quality. But I decided that I need to return to this book almost immediately. So in the same month, just a couple of days after I finished this one, I did Busted, and this one I love 10 times more. Maybe my color choice was more successful, even if I also had to redo it a couple of times. My first background didn't look very attractive because of some of the stains which I got from alcohol markers, but I told myself that if I have stains here, maybe it's like smoke from the flame. And first I did much lighter bottom part of the background. In the end I realized that I need stronger contrast, so good thing that you can apply alcohol markers on top as much time as you want to, so I used much darker brown, and finally I was really happy. And again, color combo of those striking blue-violet colors always look good with yellow and orange. That's what I used here. Just a couple of bright elements like fire here and on her jewelry. And I decided to do black cats here. Yeah, with this one I was totally happy, and it like get back to me my confidence into of coloring this book. So of course I want to color something here in September also. but I don't know if I have enough time because I have huge September plans and I have some, I don't know, I want to color everything in my head, but when I sit to color, I somehow have some problems with my inspiration, with editing video. Anyway, I hope that it was only because of the summer heat, very hot days which we have here. And yeah, 2 more pictures in goddesses. Now let's have a look at an epic world of Tolkien. I started my first page here in the end of July. I already made a video in the end of July how I struggled with my gesso when I tried to work on this paper with a watercolor. And let me tell you that I continue to struggle here, because apart from the picture which I show you now, I did another one which will be in my September works. So my struggle continues, but I still very happy that I returned to it. And not returned, but actually started to color it, because those creatures, they were my first picture after 4 years after I purchased it. So here we have this strange mole lips, this slightly ugly creatures, but for me it was easier to practice on them, because I knew that background would be quite problematic because of the paper. So when I don't have something beautiful, it's easier for me to experiment with colors, with textures, with various art supplies. Yeah, and it still not very attractive with these stains on the background and visible pencil strokes, but believe me, comparing to the first look of it when I just started to color it, now it looks much better. It was very interesting to experiment with various colors of the skins. Here you don't need to use our traditional light or dark skin tone pencils, those fair skin tone. I prefer for such creatures to add grayish or green gray color, brown gray colors, and I decided to add everywhere those pale yellow shining to their skin, because I don't know how they have to look, so why they won't be slightly yellowish. I think that in the end it works. It's a crazy mess of art supplies, a layer of watercolors, then a work of pencils, and I used together polychromasis and Prismacolors, even a couple of Derwent drawings, mostly because of the shades of colors which I needed. So in September I will show you like a second part of the story, another ugly creatures, another struggle with the background, and I intend to continue coloring here, at least for this page, because when I covered paper here with gesso, I also prepared paper with gesso here. Then I got those stains. Here I intend to try acrylic paint for the sky, and it will be very interesting. Maybe acrylic will be easier to work with, because pictures are beautiful, but struggle with paper started to get on my nerves a little bit. Now, Paradise. My Paradise, which I slowly but surely color from time to time. I don't know why I constantly return to this one, because I love the whole series, at least all books which I own. I don't have several books, the first books by Kattenbank, then I don't have a couple of books by Athanasio, but Paradise I do love. Many other books for me actually are more beautiful, like Aviary or Cosmic Spirit, but still I return to Paradise. This month I want to show you this flying ship. This picture has a long story because I started to color it in March. Yes, it's fun, and if you look at the video which I published in August, you can see that I color it when I have a sweater on me, and in August it was slightly fun to watch. I did the whole background. It's watercolor, regular watercolor, then shiny watercolor. If you look closer, you can see that sky looks quite magical because I added a little bit of metallic blue and metallic violet on top of a violet regular paint. I did those flying gemstones, stars, and even castle. And then somehow I had this coloring block when I had to color ship. So I abandoned it from March until August. And then in 30 minutes I finished it with polychromos pencils, and I think that in the end it worked. I wasn't sure which colors to use for the sails. In the end, when I decided to leave them almost white with just very delicate light yellow shining, I think that it really helped to turn ship into the focal point of the whole page. So I am happy that I don't have this work in progress anymore, and I have one more finished picture here. I will try to switch in September to some of my other mythographic books. I really want to start Aviary and Cosmic Spirit, but I already know which picture from Paradise I would love to color next. So we will see who will win. Cosmic Spirit, Aviary, Paradise, or maybe Dreamweaver or some other beautiful books. I definitely think that I don't color in these books frequently enough, and they deserve to be colored. In July, after a long break, I returned to Romantic Country book, and I really enjoyed doing my first page after return. I think that I already remembered how to work with Prismacolors on this paper, preferably with Blender, and I decided that I want to color more. So in August I did this page with cleaning. Maybe it was end of the year cleaning according to the story, but here I decided that I still want to color it. Everything here is done with my favorite blue and violet colors. You know that I really love this color combo. I use it a lot. Probably there are very few of my pictures where you can't find purple, violet and blue colors. And I love how they look together with gold here. Maybe the most boring part was to color all those bricks, but I decided to color them in slightly different way, so I have more warm gray and beige bricks, then slightly brownish bricks, and the rest I did with cool gray. Simple page, but I enjoyed doing it, and I think that those bright parts of the clocks, they really added interesting touch to the whole page. I will try to do another spread here in September, but it's huge with a huge amount of details. Maybe I will need 2 months. I have in mind this one. It's a beautiful big, but with various elements and details like houses and flats inside of the tree. I do love this idea, but size of the spread, it's a little bit frightening, but maybe during 2 months I will be able to color it. Another very detailed picture I did in Ivy here. This time my picture was almost in the end of the book and name was matching to it, so it's called Farewell to Enchantia. That's the moment when Ivy finally part from the magical country and return to the normal world. She say goodbye to all her new friends, and yes, I wanted to do it for a long time, but I never liked the shape of it, that we have unfinished and unsymmetrical frame here. I decided to mask it a little bit by adding similar shape of the background here and here. I imagined that maybe when dragons cried, saying goodbye to ivy, they also produced some kind of smoke around them, and that's how I decided to do this wavy background, which reminds me about smoke or cloud. Probably here I enjoyed the most inventing colors for the dragon's body. Definitely she is the queen, very regal and very beautiful with all those purple, process red, magenta colors, but the smaller one also is quite cute. Well, another spread, probably it was easier to do comparing to my previous one where I spent huge amount of time with pencil background. My previous one was this one, where I did blue pencil background. So here it was easier. The most time-consuming part was to add those bricks, because initially this door it was hanging in nowhere in the air, and I totally disliked it. When I added at least part of the wall, I decided maybe like old wall or we can't see the whole building. Anyway, it's still better comparing to the empty background. And now probably I am ready to do something on one page here because I feel slightly tired from 2 pages spread. We will see where I move from this one. Probably as the most significant moment of August was that I finally returned to Hannah Carson book. I tried to remember when was the last time when I colored something in Hannah Carson, and I think that it was maybe 3 years ago, and even then I did one page in Seasons. I remember that it was page with not with rabbit, with squirrel in Seasons, and that was old, quite old. I have no explanations why I hadn't touched Hannah Carson pictures. Maybe because I was much more invested in Kirby Razanes, in Clara Markova, in Teresa Goodrich, of course. So somehow I abandoned them, and I even didn't purchase the last one, The City Among the Stars, because I felt guilty that I didn't touch Witch Cottage and Forest Kingdom. But now when I return to these books, I realized that I actually miss them, and I remember how much I enjoyed coloring them in the beginning of my hobby. To return to Hannah Carson coloring, I selected a very simple page. Of course, my favorites were all those pictures with yummy things, but here I wasn't sure how I want to do the background, so I decided to select not a spread but one page. For a start, here I did quite traditional background combining a regular and metal acrylic. I hope that you will be able to see that it's actually quite shiny. Start wasn't easy. I had to change background colors. I started from turquoise background in the central part, then I didn't like it and I changed it, covering the whole central area of the circle with black paint, and after that everything went much easier. Again, my favorite colors. I know that all those teal green, turquoise green look quite nice, both with carmine and blue violet colors, and they all look nice together with golden frames. So my butterfly looks magical, looks shiny, and really is a piece of gemstone. I was really happy when I finished it, because when I did background and I disliked it, I was like, oh, I lost all my skills to do pictures in Hannah Carson, but I'm glad that I decided to proceed and just changing this small element into black background. It really pushed me and helped me to finish it, and I think that it looks quite spectacular. At least I'm proud of myself. And yes, I started another page in Hannah Carson, so I hope that from now these books won't be abandoned and that I will be using in Forest Kingdom and Witch Cottage, especially because in October and November I would love to do many pictures with beautiful witches in witch cottages. But in Masquerade I also have many plans, many beautiful pictures. I just needed this push and some good moment to return to the books. The final book in this video will be Symphony of Cute Animals. Yes, I promised myself that maybe it's time to remember about other books by Kanoka and to switch to Rhapsody or Minuet, but then I looked at selection of perfect summer pictures in Symphony and I decided that August I still want to dedicate to this beauty. And in August I managed to color 3 pictures here. Maybe let me show you first the most challenging one. The most challenging not because of the difficulty of picture, but because of the paper. You know that I already many times complained about my problems with this paper, that I still don't know which pencils are the best here, and somehow I decided to color this page with polychromases. Now I can say that probably it was definitely the last page which I color with polychromos on this paper. Yes, polychromos pencils were perfect for the picture. I love to use polychromos for coloring gold and for such backgrounds, but they blended so bad and they also didn't look very bright here. They felt scratchy in areas where I tried to darken them a little bit, even with just second or third layer. Sometimes they created some dirt. Anyway, the process was a huge struggle, but the final look is quite pleasant. Usually I am not a big fan of such patterns, but here we have not many repeated elements, so it was interesting to color them. Still, I try to use some colors repeatedly, like those turquoise bows, the same red color for the ribbons here. So I do love how it looked, but when I remember how I struggled with doing even this simple green gradient on the background, I promised myself that even if Prismacolors are still far from being perfect on this paper, it's still much easier. Maybe one day I will decide that I can repeat this experiment, but for now, definitely, I will stick with Prismacolors. But I love that I finished this one, probably not very traditional choice of picture for me. Here animals are small, so I decided that I don't want to work very carefully on the, how it's called, not fur, on the texture of the animals. And I was more concentrated on good selection of colors. Everything is in more calm colors, those vintage reds, dark gold and sand gold, not very intense green. So I do love color palette here. But my next picture, or even 2 pictures which I did here, I love much more. I am very grateful to my patrons who prompted me to do this spread. And in the beginning I planned to do only one of these pictures, but then I so fall in love with the whole spread that I decided that if I can't have all these things during summer, then at least I can do it on paper and my mice, my rabbits can have perfect summertime. I started from the page on the right, and here I immediately could imagine how I can color the picture inside of this beautiful robe frame, but I had difficulty with color selection for the background for the outside part, because I knew that those seashells and those corals, they will look good both on color of the sand and on color of the water. In the end, I decided that actually I can use both. So I added those edge between water and sand by myself. I simply draw it with light blue pencil, and after I finished to color this sand and water backgrounds, I added a little bit of white paint here on the border to imitate foam on the seawater. And I think that actually it worked. At least now I don't need to suffer like, oh, maybe blue background would be better contrast, or maybe sand background would be better because we have water also here inside. Now I'm perfectly happy. It was a little bit challenging to decide how to make this sand castle as a focal point, because here we also have a lot of sand, but thanks to the Prismacolor set, where we have very good selection of light yellow colors, cream, sand, jasmine, yellow ochre, I managed to use more intense, more vibrant yellow colors for the sand here, and more pastel cream sand colors for the background. Now I think that everything here looks quite okay. Maybe seashells look not very realistic, but I deliberately decided to make them more pale because all bright colors I wanted to save for the central part. This one is good, and it reminded me about similar picture in Manuet which I did maybe 5 years ago. Still very good memories. But picture on the left was even more interesting to do, because here I had to color many new things for me, like pineapple or kiwi. It was interesting to find right shades of brown, yellow and bright green colors. I also didn't know how to color those cocktails with ice inside. I decided to work a little bit on the background here, so I divided it into sky and sea. Then I added clouds. Many colors I used repeatedly, the same color combos which I think I managed to find for this area of the sea I also used here. And now the whole spread look like a part of the one page, and they look quite well balanced here. But yummy things were more interesting to color comparing to the background. So this pineapple and this ice cream, those cocktails, they were difficult, but I really enjoyed coloring them. It was fun to imagine what tastes of ice cream I want to put here. Well, I would say that it's my favorite two pictures from August, because of the summer vibe, because of the positive energy, because of the very cute animals which we have here. And it's never frightening to color animals in Kanoko Yakuza books because of the delicate shading and texture which she provides, and because they are small, so you don't need to spend a lot of time. And I think that I learned something new, actually those pineapple part and pineapple here, I really think that I managed to color. Those cocktails, well, maybe I need to work a little bit more, but still in the beginning I was thinking that I will ruin it, and now I'm proud of myself, and definitely that's my favorite work of August. Well, that was all. I can't say that I have particular plans for September. Maybe I will start to do something with fall pictures, but nothing about Halloween yet. Just pictures with beautiful leaves, berries, some of the animals which I consider like fall animals, squirrels or hedgehogs. And I think that it will be like transferring period from pictures with flowers, with summer vibe, into full force autumn pictures which I usually start to color in October. I hope that you enjoyed my August works. I love many of them and I had a lot of nice time doing them. I hope that in September I also will do something decent. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon.